I'm Paul Van Squike of Taekwondo Guide, and this is Topic Tuesday. Welcome. If you don't know anything about Topic Tuesday, it's real simple. People leave me comments and ask me questions about martial arts and Taekwondo, and I make a video and we talk about it. So let's get into this week's Topic Tuesday. And I'd like to start out just by mentioning that last week, I didn't make a Topic Tuesday like this. Instead, I took your questions and turned them into shorter, snappier videos. What did you guys think? Did you like that? Here's what I'm thinking. You guys keep asking the questions. If it's a good question for a short, snappy video, I'm going to put it in a format like that. If it's better for a long form, just Paul talking to the camera so you can listen to it on the way to work, I'm going to do it like that. So it's just going to depend on the material that I get in. That's what I'm thinking. But you guys let me know what you think of the difference. Okay, I'm going to jump into your questions. The first one is from Hello, who writes, can you suggest practice exercises my 9-year-old daughter can do on her own, since she will be missing a lot of classes, since she will be spending a lot of time with her grandparents this summer? I want to make sure she doesn't lose her momentum. Thanks. Yeah, first, if she's coming up through the belts like most people are, make sure she's doing her forms regularly. I can tell you that when people take the summer off and then they come back, they've forgotten not only their current form, but their old forms. And then when they're in the class trying to follow along, they feel like they forgot everything, and a lot of times they'll quit or not even come back because they'll realize that they've forgotten everything. So the stuff that requires memorization, make sure she's going through that so that, as you say, she doesn't feel like she's losing her momentum. Okay, that's a real simple one you can practice with no help from anyone at all. Just run those forms. I recommend at least twice a week that you run through your forms, at least until you've done enough reps that they're really burned into your bones. My instructor told me to really get a form to burn into your bones, you needed 300 reps. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if there's any magic to the number 300, but think about it this way. If you do forms straight for an hour, you might get, I don't know, around 30 or so repetitions of that form in. So 300 is a lot of repetitions. Just consider that when you're thinking about, do you really know a form or not? Make sure she's working on those. Okay, then if she's got someone who can help her, I always recommend target work. Now a heavy bag can be great because you can use that on your own. So I had a heavy bag growing up and I constantly kicked that thing. That's a great way to just hone your techniques. But another good tool is to have whoever's watching her pick up some of those clapper paddles, and then they can move around with them, have her practice kicking the targets from movement. Now the challenge there is the holder has to be trained a little bit at least in how to hold properly to give her the right feedback for the kicks she's working on. But target practice is a great solo or semi-solo exercise you can do while you're not in classes as well. And this goes for anyone, of course, not just your 9-year-old daughter. Hope that helps. Hello. All right, the next question comes from Stupid Haters, who writes, disclaimer, this is not an attack on atheists or agnostics or any religion. As a fellow Christian, do you think being a believer would make someone a better Taekwondo practitioner or any martial art than if they weren't a believer? I feel like being spiritually strong can help assist one's skills. Now, obviously, if someone prays before competing in a fight, that's not a 100% guaranteed win, but I feel like God or whoever you believe in could instill some form of confidence, giving you a slight edge. Perhaps you or someone you know within the Taekwondo community have experienced a miracle. I know this question sounds far-fetched, so I don't blame you for not answering. That's a tough question. So understand that I do not have a black belt in theology. So if I'm giving you my opinion on this, that's all you should take it as, just an opinion. It's the way I choose to personally live my life. So let's go through this a little bit. As a Christian, do you feel like it would make you better at Taekwondo? Let's think about what Christianity is all about. To me, as a non-theologian, just as an average Joe, my understanding of it is that it's about serving others, to live Christ-like. What was his main function? It was to sacrifice himself for others. So we're to live a life of sacrifice and to live as close to that ideal as possible. So when it comes to praying before a match to try to achieve victory, personally, I think that's more like spell casting. It's more like a pagan belief where you're trying to use the gods to gain a power advantage over someone. Do you see how that's totally different from living a life of service? So I'm not looking to debate anyone here. Again, this is just how I choose to live and my observations, not being an expert in the subject matter. That's all I can give you. Does it make you a better Taekwondo student? I don't think that's the point. I think if by better you mean that you're doing Taekwondo for the right reasons, which would be to learn to serve others, Taekwondo gives you a stronger body, a sharper mind, all things that make you of better service to society. If you think of it that way, then I think Christianity does make you a better Taekwondo student. If you think of it in terms of, does it make you more capable of crushing other competitors or defeating other martial artists, I don't think that that's the right way to think about it. I don't think that it necessarily pans out like that. If you believe God has a plan for you, then who are you to say if you should win or lose or be good or be bad at Taekwondo? It's part of, how shall I say this? I think it's our goal, our objective should be to figure out what our gift is to give to the world and then do our best to impart it, that's the best way to serve. So however that looks, it might look like being a Taekwondo champion, or it might look like losing a bunch of Taekwondo matches and being a really good Taekwondo coach. Whatever that looks like, you want to align yourself with that purpose and do so with humility. That would be my take. I'm not telling you how to live. I'm not insulting anyone else's beliefs. It's just, again, an opinion from someone with no educational background on world religion or Christianity for that matter. But that's my take. All right, the next topic, I'm going to talk a little bit about my video called Real Aikido Sparring, or something like that. I always forget the title I put in. But it sparked a whole lot of debate, and I've had some back and forth with Josh over at Combat Learning, and he felt like the way that I was pressure testing the system was not particularly adequate for a few reasons. One, he felt like the students who were attacking me in the video were attacking me like Aikido students. And two, that the attacks themselves weren't replicating anything that you would naturally encounter, so it defeats the realism of it. You're basically practicing to defeat something that doesn't exist at all, that being attack from an Aikidoka that's an attack that you would never see in reality. Now, I have a lot of respect for Josh, and so I said, fair enough. What would you like me to do to test the functionality of this system? What kind of parameters do you want me to place on things? And I said, I'll do it with someone that I've never taught before, someone with no martial arts experience. And almost immediately I had the opportunity to do this. And I'm really excited to share the results. I recorded it and I will make a full video about it. But just as a teaser, what he asked me to do was have people put me in a bear hug, which basically sets them up for some sort of takedown. He didn't want them to take me down just to keep my hip safe, which was nice of him. Now, the funny thing is, I only showed a few little video clips in my Aikido sparring video, and those were not things that I recorded specifically for the video, except in one instance there was one recording I made. But the others were just things I had snagged here and there over the past few weeks that I was kind of looking at myself. Now, over the past few years, I've drilled in all sorts of different ways. You'll have to forgive me. I think someone is coming in. Sorry about that, guys. Sometimes people walk in since I'm here at my school and have something they need. So, anyway, I was talking about this set of parameters that I asked Josh from Combat Learning to give me to suss out the viability of the Aikido techniques I was talking about. And so what he wanted them to do was put a bear hug on me in the sort of setup for being able to throw me. And he didn't want me to actually fall down to preserve my hip. And I think I was just about to say that I've actually been doing a lot of that kind of stuff. We've done all sorts of drills in this vein for several years now to test the different Aikido techniques. So what you saw was just a snapshot of the many things that we've worked on. And what I found is that even when you give people more complex options, in terms of you give them the options to take you down and so forth, when you're being evasive, what they always try to get to is your arm or the cloth on your, if you're wearing a gi, particularly on your gi, since it's a more secure grip, or just your shirt. So I did this with two people that I've never trained with before and who have never trained in any martial arts. And it went just about exactly as I expected, with a few surprises that were quite delightful, actually. And outside of me being a little spazzier than I would be here, just because I didn't know what these people were going to do, number one. Number two, I had an audience watching me. Number three, I didn't want to goof up for the video, whereas in class I don't mind goofing up because it helps me, learn new things. And number four, I was trying to be very careful about the techniques I was using, so I didn't accidentally hurt one of these guys who was nice enough to volunteer to do this. So I was just trying to be evasive. But I think you guys are going to get a kick out of what you see in the video. And from my perspective, it felt exactly like what we do here. And I saw all the same stuff crop up, from the grabs to the arm, the shirt, the same angles. It was very similar. And I would contest a little bit that my students behave like Aikidoka, because they haven't really been trained classically in Aikido. I've used a very different approach with them from the beginning. And I could actually do a frame-by-frame breakdown of my first video where they do all kinds of things that Aikidoka don't do. So even though I think my escapes and techniques look relatively fluid in there, you can see points where they fail, and you can see that my students are trying to constantly jockey their position and anchor their weight, do different things to make it really hard for me. And it was the same stuff that other people with no training did. So I'm going to put that together. I'll make a whole video for you. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually play it out, but then also do a breakdown, a slow motion breakdown, so you can actually see all the different Aikido techniques that pop up in these scenarios. What people typically miss about Aikido is they think of the kata that you see, like in a demonstration, as the technique, when in fact it's a whole variety of techniques, of which you might just use a piece. So if someone grabs in a particular way, and you're using a technique called ikkyo, for example, where you push on the elbow, this could result in a full-on takedown and pin, but a lot of times you just push on the elbow and pop them off of you. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole with this because I do want to just make it into a video so you guys can see. But overall, I found it quite interesting, quite delightful, and particularly a couple of the surprises were especially of interest and of high delight to me. So I'm looking forward to getting that out to you guys. With the 4th of July coming up here, I'm taking a few days off, so there won't be any videos next week, and this will probably be about it this week. But what I need from you guys is some more content ideas, so get those questions dropped. Let me know what you want me to talk about for either Topic Tuesday or other videos. I'm going to rely on you guys to make stuff. I'm kind of at a point where I've done a lot of the techniques already, and so I need input on what you guys want me to either discuss or cover. and then I can make more stuff for you. Hey, until next time, enjoy your training, and I'll see you later. Peace.